Hebrews. This is the Prophets of Awakening. Friday night. This is our non-Messianic conversation night. We still in the book of Jubilees, so we're gonna continue on that. Um, you can go to our YouTube channel, the Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos that we have. I think it's like 600 or so. Check out the videos. The information is a lot of information is given, and the videos could connect some dots for you and lead you into the truth of the Holy Scriptures. If you like what you're hearing and receiving on this channel, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you feel the need to donate, support the channel, check out the Cash App at the bottom of the screen. Okay. For those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. By that we mean Tanakh. We deal with the Tanakh, so-called Book of Remembrance, the Old Testament, and then we deal with the first 5 books of the Old Testament, the Torah, books of the law that was given to Moses by the Lord of hosts. Shalom and welcome to Prophets of Awakening, and welcome to our non-Messianic conversation. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, Sabbath prayer, Psalms, current events, the little need to know information. Then we'll open it up for some questions and comments. Then we'll go into our topic, which is dealing with the book of Jubilees. Okay? This moment of silence for the Lord of hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongs unto thee. Therefore we come before thee at this hour, seeking thy face and looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before thee as thy servants David, Solomon, Samuel, and Hezekiah did, that we may walk before thee in truth and in righteousness and in rightness of heart. For we desire to walk after thee, O Lord, and to keep your commandments, your testimony, your statutes with all our heart and soul, to perform the words of this covenant that were written down by your prophets. O Lord, allow thy face to shine upon thy people, and hear our plea. Hear and do, O Lord, and hide not thy face from us, for we need you so very much at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay. I'm going to read the Psalms right quick. Read Psalm 37. I think it's about that time. Okay. The true state of the wicked is a Psalm of David. It says, fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good, and so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thy heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in the Lord, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger, forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off. But those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plotteth against the just, and snatcheth upon him with his teeth. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his way is coming. His day is coming. The wicked have drawn out the sword, and have bent their bow, to cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of an upright conversation. Their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bow shall be broken. A little that a righteous man have is better than the riches of of many wicked. For the arm of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord uphold the righteous. The Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil times, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as the fat of lambs. They shall consume, into smoke shall they consume away. The wicked borrower payeth not again, but the righteous showeth mercy and giveth. For such as be blessed of him that inherit the earth, and they that be cursed of him shall be cut off. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. I have been young, and now I am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor the seed begging bread. He is ever merciful and lendeth, and his seed is blessed. Depart from evil, and do good, and dwell forevermore, for the Lord loveth judgment, and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever, but the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land, dwell therein forever. The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. The law of his God is in his heart, none of his steps shall slide. The wicked watcheth the righteous, and seeketh to slay him. The Lord will not leave him in his hands, nor condemn him when he is judged. Wait on the Lord, keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. I have seen the wicked in great power, and spreading himself like a green bay tree. Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. And yea, I sought him, but he could not be found. Mark the perfect man, and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off. But the salvation of the righteous is of the Lord. He is their strength in the time of trouble. And the Lord shall inherit them, shall help them, and deliver them. And he shall deliver them from the wicked, and save them, because they trust in him. So that was Psalm 37, true state of the wicked. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay, so I was noticing how, since been reading out of the book of Jubilees, how that uh, when Jacob received the birthright in the way that he received it, Esau threatened his life. So being that Jacob was uh, Rebecca's heart, she started spazzing out because she thought that he was going to, he was in danger. But like I was saying before, even with Abraham, even with the men before the flood, they had this calm about themselves because of their relationship with the Lord of hosts. And they wasn't like it is now where they didn't understand. And they knew who that God was. They knew how he operated. And they know that if they was upright and did what he said for them to do, they knew it was nothing evil was gonna befall them. So it says right here in Psalm 37, verse 38 says, "But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off. But the salvation of the righteous is of the Lord. He is their strength in a time of trouble." That's, that's where we are right now. Okay, look at this. That's where we are right now in a time of trouble. So notice what verse 40 says, "And the Lord shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them, because they trusted him." And that's the thing about knowing who our God is. How you gonna trust in something that you don't know, You don't know who it is. But our forefathers wasn't, like I said, they weren't in that predicament. They knew who God was, and they trusted in him. So, like I said, I read last night, uh, Isaac told Rebecca Jacob is an upright man, and so he left here in peace, and he's gonna come back in peace because his God, my God, and his God is gonna look over him. You know, steps is ordered. Okay. So with that being said, nobody had no comments. Got a couple of current events right here.
The oil and gas industry is getting shaken up by big gas discoveries from BRICS countries and OPEC members. China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Egypt found huge reserves, which are changing their energy strategies and challenging the traditional oil market. These discoveries have major implications for the global oil industry, from changing supply to transforming energy trade. And as these countries become more energy independent and rely less on imports, OPEC and the oil market may see some big changes. The focus on gas discoveries also aligns with a global shift towards cleaner energy sources, showing how transformative these findings are. Get ready as we dive into the details of these amazing discoveries and see how they could change everything we know about oil and gas. Hey everyone, welcome back to Tech Revolution. Before we start, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. Let's start with China. They found some really big oil reserves that can make a big difference in their energy situation, make them stronger in the global oil market. One of these discoveries happened in Xinjiang, where Sinopec found a massive amount of oil, about 1.7 billion tons. It shows that China is good at finding valuable resources deep underground, making Xinjiang a province with lots of resources. This reserve is a game changer for China's energy independence because it means they don't have to rely so much on importing oil. It might even change how the oil market works. But that's not all. China's state-owned company, CNOOC, also found 100 million tons of oil in the Bohai Sea. This finding makes China even better at producing its own oil and helps them become more self-sufficient in energy. China wants to use these reserves to keep up with the growing demand for oil and gas as its economy keeps growing fast. These discoveries not only make China more secure with its energy, but they also make China a big player in the global oil market. Moreover, China might rely less on other countries for energy as it produces more oil and gas at home. This gives them more control and reduces uncertainties caused by politics in the economy. It could also affect global oil prices and how oil is traded. Since China uses a lot of energy, its stronger position in the oil and gas markets could change how much oil is available and how much is needed. And this might challenge the power of countries that usually export oil. Additionally, China's efforts to find and use its own oil reserves align with its goal of using cleaner energy and reducing pollution. These discoveries allow China to use different kinds of energy and rely less on coal, which causes pollution and releases carbon emissions. And by using its new oil reserves, China can explore other energy options like natural gas and renewable energy. Meanwhile, Saudi Aramco made a big discovery called the Jafurah gas field. It's estimated to have a whopping 200 trillion cubic feet of gas. This is a really important step for Saudi Arabia because they want to sell more than just oil. Aramco plans to start producing gas from the Jafurah field in 2025, and they want to sell about 2 billion cubic feet of gas every day by 2030. They know the Jafurah field is a gold mine, so they're looking for investors to help fund projects related to the field. They've also been talking to big energy companies like Sinopec and Total Energies about working together on the Jafurah project. They could build facilities to export liquefied natural gas if everything goes well. Aramco wants to raise around $10 billion for these projects because they're serious about making money from the Jafurah gas field and taking advantage of the global demand for natural gas. Moreover, the United Arab Emirates has been finding lots of gas too. They're on a mission to have a more diverse energy mix and be less dependent on oil. So they've been searching and finding more and more gas to make it happen. This is a big deal because it helps the UAE become a bigger player in its global gas market. And it's not just about making money, it's also about making their energy sustainable in the long run. They're really serious about diversifying their energy, and these discoveries are a big step in that direction. Egypt has found some gas in the eastern Mediterranean Sea off the coast of Egypt. Eni, an Italian energy company, discovered the Norgis 1 well, and they found a big reserve of gas there. The well went deep and found about 200 meters of gas-filled sandstorms from different formations. This discovery adds to the Egypt's gas reserves, making them even more important in the regional gas market. ENI is all about exploring offshore in Egypt, and this discovery fits right into their plans. They want to use their existing facilities and stuff in Egypt to help the country's energy sector grow and improve. ENI has been in Egypt's oil and gas game since way back in 1954, and they're still a big part of Egypt's energy scene. The
Okay. Any comments on that?
Yes, sir. Is
Okay.
it like China, when it was talking about China doing that big hole that they're drilling? They probably are drilling for gas also.
Yeah, they done found it.
Oh, they did.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
We got it. Funny.
Yeah, they found it. They done found it. Like I was saying, you gotta look at who behind it, Lord of hosts, because that's the whole thing behind the whole thing behind the what's going on. That's the whole thing behind the petrodollar was America had all the oil and gas, uh, they had it, you know, what's the word here for that? They had it under their possession. All that they didn't have, Saudi Arabia had it, but the whole thing is shifted. Saudi Arabia decided with the Middle East, in particular, decided with BRICS. And then not only that, now all this oil and gas they done found. So it's just like I said, you can see that nothing is happening good for them. They're being brought down.
But
They, they,
does,
go
Scott,
ahead.
doesn't the U.S. have untapped gas? I mean, they're saying that they do have it. They've been drilling everywhere in Texas and in different places, and they just don't use or sell their gas. The United States don't sell their gas. They get
Yeah,
gas from everywhere else.
they're looking. They just like the guy was saying. Those other countries didn't have no gas, so they was pretty much in a place where they had to these deal with what America had going on with the petrodollar and all that, because they had no reserves. And so America got all these reserves, but they holding on to it and making money off of other people because of the dollar, and then they keeping that for reserves for themselves. But now, like the guy was just revealing, China found all this oil, so they can sit back and they don't really have to. They're not put in a pressure situation where they got to accept any old thing that the West been putting out for the last 100 years or so. They got massive reserves, and And from what he was saying, way more than what America have. So the game is changing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Anybody else got anything on that? Okay.
Prepare yourself for an in-depth analysis of the latest news and developments in global affairs, international relations, and technology. In this video, we will discuss China and Japan's plans to sell $700 billion worth of US bonds again, which could result in significant financial losses for the United States. On June 14th, the US released the Consumer Price Index data for May, revealing a 4% year-over-year increase, slightly below market expectations of 4.1%. Previous data indicated a decline in year-over-year CPI growth for 11 consecutive months, since reaching a 40-year peak of 9.1% in June 2022. Additionally, the core service price inflation indicator, a key concern for Fed Chairman Jerome Powell, also slowed down, marking its smallest increase in 15 months. This inflation report provides support for the Federal Reserve to suspend rate hikes in June. Market speculation suggests not only skipping a rate hike in June, but also suspending rate increases altogether, according to statistics from Chicagoland. However, the persistent core inflation reveals the stubbornness of US inflation, posing a risk of future rate hikes that could put pressure on the US banking sector and bond market. Following the release of the CPI data, the 10-year US bond yield climbed to 3.84%, just below the 2.5-month high of 3.86% set on May 26. This trend indicates an ongoing sell-off of US bonds in the market. In a report published on June 14th, J.P. Morgan Asset's chief investment officer warned of an impending U.S. recession, drawing parallels to the situation during the 2008 financial crisis. He predicted that a recession would likely occur within 13 months after the Federal Reserve's last interest rate hike. He expressed concerns that U.S. regional banks, commercial real estate, and companies with low-rated corporate bonds would face significant challenges. During a June 14th hearing of the Congressional Financial Services Committee, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen acknowledged the potential impact of lower commercial real estate valuations on the U.S. banking sector. She suggested that the U.S. banking sector might face difficulties in an environment of higher interest rates, indicating a possibility of further consolidation. She stated that such developments would not come as a surprise. These indicators suggest that the United States may be on the brink of a major banking crisis. In the coming weeks, the U.S. financial markets could face a severe credit crunch storm. This year, the default rate in the U.S. junk loan market, totaling $1.4 trillion, has significantly increased due to the Federal Reserve's aggressive interest rate hikes, which have added pressure on risky companies dealing with floating borrowing costs. According to Goldman Sachs' analysis of PitchBook LCD data, from January 1st to the end of May this year, there were 18 debt defaults in the U.S. loan market, amounting to $21 billion. This number and total value surpass the figures for both 2021 and 2022 combined. In May alone, there were 3 defaults amounting to $7.8 billion, the highest monthly amount since March 2020. Furthermore, the U.S. Treasury's plan to increase debt issuance to finance the U.S. Commonwealth and rebuild cash reserves poses an even greater risk to U.S. financial markets. J.P. Morgan predicts that by the end of 2023, the U.S. Treasury will need to borrow $1.1 trillion in short-term treasuries to balance spending and repay related debt payments. This squeeze effect will pose hazards for the already fragile U.S. banking sector, further highlighting the potential cascading crisis of recession and additional bank collapses following the passage of the debt ceiling. It will also have a detrimental impact on the stability of the U.S. national debt. In a report released on June 14th, Bridgewater's founder, Dalio, argued that inflation in the US would remain high while real interest rates continue to rise. He warned that if the United States remains divided, the economy could deteriorate, leading to internal conflict on a larger scale. Alongside the possibility of a major banking crisis, holding US debt becomes increasingly risky, given the relatively weak returns. Furthermore, the US dollar's role as a global reserve currency is waning, with central banks worldwide seeking to diversify their foreign exchange reserves.
Okay. Any comments on that? Like I said, these are all banking, so we know who behind it. Bankers. They're the ones behind it. Okay. Got some need to know information right here.
What you're about to witness is when being a smarty pants goes wrong by a white man. Now, I'm going to give it a little context. This happened at the University of Massachusetts as Dr. William Sandy Darity was invited at the Philip Gamble lectureship to lecture about does everyone lose from racism, insights from stratification economics, right? And a white man got up to ask him a question. It sounds like he was trying to blame Black people, bringing up illegitimacy rate and the crime rate in the Black community. And the good doctor took him to school. Check it out.
All right, thanks for coming today. Are there any trends within the Black community, such as higher crime rates or higher illegitimacy rates that could explain their position vis-a-vis whites? And can those be explained by some dominant social group?
No.
No to the first one, or
No to both.
So there's no.
I mean, there's a propagandistic mechanism that's afloat about, Black illegitimacy and Black criminality. I guess it depends on what kind of crime you have in mind. If we think about which community in the United States has the highest degree of history of violence, that's unquestionably white Americans. Unquestionably. I mean, I'm not sure if you're aware of the 100 massacres that were conducted between the end of the Civil War and World War II that were directed against Black communities throughout the United States, in which thousands of Blacks were killed and the white terrorists appropriated Black-owned property. So there's no segment of the population that has a greater history of violence than white Americans. So when you talk about these kinds of matters to me, you're actually mouthing a set of propagandistic claims that are made on the right in the United States, and they do not have a foundation in fact.
So as you heard the good doctor say, wait a minute now that's me putting a little extra on it. He was a little bit more dignified, but he was like, nah, if you want to talk about crime, let's talk about white people actually being more violent. We can take it all the way back to slavery, even the present day, and you will always come up with a number that says that white people have been and are more violent toward Black people. So while you sitting up here trying to ask me about the violence and the illegitimacy in the Black community, you might want to be focused on what's going on in your community. So you know what? I love it. Of course, Dr. William Sandy Darity is an American economist that focuses on equality and race. And he also is one that believes that African Americans, descendants of slavery, if you will, deserve trillions of dollars in reparations due to what was done to our ancestors during slavery and what is still being done to us as Black people in America. So I'm glad that Dr. Darity ate his lunch, but you know what that white man won't do again? That. So anyway, y'all tell me what you think of that. For more.
Okay. Any comments on that? Okay. A little need to know information. Okay. I'll open it up for questions and comments. Anybody got anything they want to talk about? Questions or something that they came across or they heard on this channel? You need some clarity on it? Okay, everybody good? Okay, I'm gonna play this here, then we go into the lesson.
Full flex, and I'm gonna explain black genetics. Quick disclaimer, this video is not intended to offend anybody. I don't want to discriminate, I only want to educate. If you played sports before, it's likely you've heard of the term black genetics. Black people are seen to be genetically gifted or to have a genetic advantage in powerful sports. I mean, they do seem to dominate a lot of powerful sports, like sprinting, basketball, American football, and to some extent, bodybuilding. So, is it true? Do black people have a genetic advantage? Well, in short, yes. For example, if you look at sprinting, the first person to break the 10-second barrier was in 1968, and that was Jim Hines, a black guy. Until 2003, only black people had broken the 10-second barrier. Now, in 2003, he was the first person that wasn't of African descent that broke the 10-second barrier, and that was Patrick Johnson, an Aboriginal from Australia. Now, whether you view Aboriginals as black or not, that's up to you. Anyway, after 2003 until 2010, only black people were breaking the 10-second barrier. When it comes to basketball, over 70% of the NBA is black. Now, of course, yes, there's a height aspect, but let's be honest. On average, black people are not the tallest people in the world. So, of course, it's more about their athletic ability, their explosive ability. Let's look at American football, which is an extremely explosive sport. Over 70% of the NFL is black. When it comes to bodybuilding, the top 2 bodybuilders in history with 8 Mr. Olympia titles are Lee Haney and Ronnie Coleman, both black. Now the runners-up, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Phil Heath. Phil Heath, yet again, is another black guy. And his competitor for a long time was Kai Green, which is yet again another black guy. However, when it comes to bodybuilding, it is arguable. Now there's 4 main reasons and 1 factor as well. Now this factor is the genetic diversity in Africa. You see, sub-Saharan Africans are grouped as black people and part of the black race, even though Africa is the most genetically diverse continent in the world. There's only 1.2 billion people in Africa, but they're still more genetically diverse than the 6+ billion people in the rest of the world. So of course, you're likely to find a lot of the genetic extremes in Africa. For example, the tallest people in the world are the Dinka people in South Sudan, which is in Africa. The shortest people in the world are the Mbutsi people in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is also in Africa. So it's no surprise then that the fastest and most muscular people are also going to be found in Africa. But understand this, just because they're all grouped as black doesn't mean they have the same DNA. For example, a man from South India does not have the same DNA as a man from Korea, but they're both Asian. It doesn't mean they have the same DNA. In the same way, black people don't all have the same DNA, even though we're all grouped as black people. That's why it's easy to see that black people dominate sports. But in true reality, there's a lot of different DNA groups that dominate different sports. Now, as for the 4 reasons, the first reason is...
Let's go with Corolla.
If you don't know what natural selection is, maybe you didn't pay attention in biology. But basically, natural selection is when the environment decides what genes survive. For example, you get 2 rabbits. One rabbit is fast and the other rabbit is slow. Now, if both rabbits are being chased by a wolf or a fox, the fast rabbit is more likely to survive because it's faster. So over time, the fast rabbit is probably going to live longer and be able to pass on its genes, while the slow rabbit won't be able to. So as time goes on, there'll be more faster rabbits than there are slow rabbits because the environment.
Okay, so let's look at that right there. And go back to situation with Cain and the Gentiles. So we know that the brother was just breaking down the fact that what the melanin does. You know, because first of all, it causes the skin to be dark, which is what black folks are. Negroes and Africans and all that. And then he's just showing and proving that makes us way more superior than everybody else. And then he just gave a description of 2 rabbits and all the predators that's in their environment. The one with all the skills is the one that's going to survive. The one that don't have the skills is going to get killed and die off. So go to Cain, what the Most High did to him. The Most High took the melanin out of him and reduced his chances of survival because he want him gone. He want him to die off. Well, guess what we doing? We getting him back to melanin. The Most High took it away from him for them to get rid of him. And then he told us, don't mingle with him. So what he's saying, don't give him that. Don't get him no melanin. Don't get him your DNA. It's a blessing I gave you. But look what we're doing. Giving it back to him. They took it away and to put him at a disadvantage. Something to think about.
Environment decides. It's just science. Now in Africa, malaria has killed off so many people, especially in West Africa. And in case you don't know what malaria is, mosquitoes suck blood from humans and animals. Mainly animals, but they also do suck blood from humans. And what they do is they suck your blood, but in the process of doing so, they inject their bacteria, which is responsible for malaria. Now this bacteria likes to infect the red blood cells and then multiply. Now in West Africa, they have on average lower hemoglobin, and also they have the highest cases of sickle cell. That's sickle cell trait and sickle cell anemia. Now low hemoglobin and sickle cell means you have a problem in your production of red blood cells, which normally is a health problem. But in the case of malaria, it's actually an advantage because there's not enough red blood cells for the malaria to spread throughout the body. So those without those traits likely died out, whereas those with those traits have lived on and passed on their genes. See, natural selection. Now, as a result of low hemoglobin and sickle cell trait causing the low production of red blood cells, Black people have less slow twitch muscle fibers. In case you don't know, slow twitch muscle fibers are oxidative. They use aerobic respiration, meaning that they use oxygen. Now, because there's a low percentage of slow twitch muscle fibers, there's a higher percentage of fast twitch muscle fibers, which don't require oxygen. Now, the second reason is the power gene. That's right. Our body literally has a gene that helps us to generate power and force. Now, this gene is called ACTN3, and the gene creates a protein called alpha-actinin 3. Now, this protein is what's actually responsible for the power and the force. However, ACTN3 has 2 versions, a good version and a bad version. The good version is the R allele, and the bad version is the X allele. Basically, if you get the R allele from your dad and another R allele from your mom, and you become the RR genotype, you'll be able to create a lot of power and force. If you get the R from your dad and the X from your mom, you'll still be able to produce a good amount of power. Not as good as the RR, but still a good amount of power. On the other hand, if you receive the X from your dad and the X from your mom, you will not be able to produce as much power because your gene is insufficient in creating actinin 3. Now, the XX genotype, people who are XX, not RX, but just XX, completely the insufficient version of the gene, make up around 25% of the Asian population. That means that a quarter of Asians have the XX version, right, which is not the good version. Now, when it comes to white people, it is 18% of white people. That's almost a fifth have the bad version, the XX version. However, when it comes to Black people, less than 1% of Black people have the bad version, the XX version. That's 3% of Black Americans, 2% of Jamaicans, and in West Africa, the percentage of people with the bad version of the gene is around 1%. That means that around 99% of West Africans have the good version of the gene. And just
Ain't that something? Yeah, so you want to check all that out. It's Black Genetics Explained. That's the name of it. Is that something? So that's just listening to that and understanding it, the Most High being raised up, Lord of Hosts being raised up. Okay? Any comments? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on. I want to ask back to the whole sickle cell trait.
Okay.
You know, how many of us got the sickle cell trait? You know, I know I got it. They say I got the gene. You know, I think the majority of us got it over here in this side of the pond.
Okay.
You know,
So what that mean?
say it again. What'd you say?
What do that mean?
Yeah, what he was saying is it's dealing with our hemoglobin and our ability to be able to fight off malaria and those types of diseases because of the red blood cells and the red blood count.
Right.
You know, so I know this was years ago when I had my blood checked, and I knew a girl who had sickle cell anemia, and I felt bad for her what she had to go through. But when I went and found out, it was like, yo, you have the trait, you have the gene, and you know, for sickle cell anemia. So you know, like he said, for most people, they'll have you thinking that's a bad thing. So imagine all of us going back to the continent, and there's mosquitoes everywhere
Right.
that have malaria. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, that's the whole thing about a lot of our situation. We tied to the land, and we not in the land where we supposed to be in. You see what I'm saying? So that's this things happening. Like I was saying with the pineal gland, it's secreting melanin in the morning. It's secreting a certain chemical in the morning, and then it's secreting another chemical at night. And not only that, we see from what this brother is breaking down, other things is being secreted. There's a cut off of that, whatever else going on. Like you said, we need power. You know, we got this is different enzymes and all that that's being secreted to help us generate power. So all that stuff is being, well, when the Most High said gifts that He gave us, that's what He's talking about. Causes us, is what makes us who we are. The reason why we are more superior race than everybody else. Okay. So with that being said, like I was saying, the last couple of days I've been reading out the book of Jubilees because it's packed with so much information. So I'm just gonna go on, continue on that. And I'm in stopped last night in chapter 29. So I'm gonna pick it up in 29. This book of Jubilees, chapter 29. It says, it happened when Rachel had given birth to Joseph that Laban went to shear his sheep, for they were distant from him a 3 days journey. Jacob saw that Laban was going to shear his sheep, and Jacob called Leah and Rachel and spoke sweetly to them in order to convince them to come with him to the land of Canaan. For he told them how he had seen everything in a dream, and that God had spoken to him that he should return to his father's house. And they said, to every place where you go, we will go with you. And Jacob blessed the God of Isaac, his father, and the God of Abraham, his father's father. And he arose and placed his wives and his children on donkeys, and took all his possessions and crossed the river and came to the land of Gilead. And Jacob hid his intention from Laban and did not tell him. So I want to shine a light on this. One of the reasons I was saying about rightly dividing the word, right? Check this out. So we was dealing with, I think it was on the Shabbat, with Zerubbabel. identifying, the significance of who he was and all that. And we found out that he was he was from David's lineage, and he was a king. That he came from. Josiah had a son called Jehoiakim, and Jehoiakim was taken to Babylon, and it was pronounced to be in Babylon for 70 years. So by the time the 70 years came up, Zerubbabel was the one in place out of David's lineage to come back to rebuild the temple. And so we saw that not only did he come when it was time for him to come out, all the vessels and gold and all that Cyrus gave for them to come back to rebuild the temple, because the Most High used Cyrus as far as the funding, to fund the rebuilding of his house. And he came out with his treasure and gave all that to Zerubbabel. And Zerubbabel came back. And it tells you in 2 Chronicles who came back with him. It was Malachi. I mean, not Malachi. Yeah, Malachi. Mordecai was with him, but specifically was Zechariah and Haggai. Now we know that in Haggai chapter 9 it says the king is coming back to Jerusalem lowly riding upon an ass, right? So here go your answer right here. If you want to know if it's something that I dug up or is it rightly divided. So it tells you right here in 29, Jacob is over in the land of Mesopotamia. He's acquired a whole bunch of wealth from working with wives and sons and cattle and everything. And he got to get from Mesopotamia back to the land of Canaan, where's Isaac is at. So in verse 4, Jacob blessed the God of Isaac, his father, and the God of Abraham, his father's father, and he arose and he placed his wives and children on donkeys. See that? Placed them on donkeys, asses. So go back to Zechariah 9:9. Okay? And he took all his possessions and crossed the river and came to the land of Gilead. Jacob and hid his intentions from Laban, and he did not. So Zerubbabel got to get from Babylon back to Jerusalem. How you think he got back? Riding on an ass, coat of an ass. Okay? So anyway, verse 5 says, in the 7th year of the 4th week, Jacob turned his face toward Gilead in the 1st month. On the 21st of it, on the 21st of it, Laban pursued and overtook Jacob in the mountains of Gilead in the 3rd month, on the 13th of it. And the Lord did not permit him to injure Jacob, for he appeared to him in a dream by night. And Laban spoke to Jacob on the 15th of those days. Jacob made a feast for Laban and for all who came with him. And Jacob swore to Laban that day, and Laban also swore to Jacob that neither should cross the mountain of Gilead to do evil to the other. And he made a heap of stones for a witness thereof, wherefore the name of the place is called the heap of witness after this heap. But before they used to call the land of Gilead the land of the Rephaim. The Rephaim were born giants whose heights were 10 and 9 and 8 down to 7 cubits. Their dwelling place was from the land of the children of Ammon to Mount Hermon, and the seat of their kingdom were Cronum and Ashtaroth and Esdras and Mizpah and Beon. And the Lord destroyed them because of the evil of their deeds, for they were malevolent, and the Amorites were wicked and sinful. There is no people today which has committed the full range of their sins, and their life on the earth was shortened. And Jacob sent Laban away, and he departed into Mesopotamia and the land of the east, and Jacob returned to the land of Gilead. And he placed over the Jacobites in the 9th month, on the 11th of it, on the day Esau his brother came to him, and he was reconciled to him, and departed from him to the land of Seir, where Jacob dwelled in tents. But in the first year of the 5th week, in this Jubilee, he crossed the Jordan, and dwelt beyond the Jordan. He pastured his sheep from the sea of the heap of Bashan to Dudan, and to the forest of Acarbon. And he sent his father Isaac all of his possessions, such as clothing and food, and meat and drink, and milk and butter and cheese, and some dates of the valley. 4 times a year he sent gifts to his mother Rebekah, who was living in the tower of Abraham. He sent the gifts between the times of the month, between plowing and reaping, and between autumn and the rain season, and between winter and spring. For Isaac had returned from the well of the oak, and had gone up to the tower of his father Abram, and he dwelt there apart from his son Esau. For in the days when Jacob went to Mesopotamia, Esau took to him a wife of Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, and he gathered together all the flocks of his father and his wives, and he went up and dwelt at Mount Seir, and left Isaac his father at the well of oak alone. And Isaac went up from the well of the oak and dwelled in the tower of Abraham his father on the mountains of Hebron. And that is where Jacob sent all that he did send to his father and his mother from time to time, all they needed, and they blessed Jacob with all their hearts and with all their soul. Okay, that was chapter 29. Any questions or comments on that? Anything stick out? Okay. Chapter 30. In the first year of the 6th week, he went up to Salem, to the east of Shechem, and in the 4th month, and he went in peace. Shechem, the son of Hamor the Havite, the prince of the land, carried off Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, into the house, and he had sex with her and defiled her. She was a little girl, a child of 12 years. He begged his father and her brothers that she might be given to him as a wife. And Jacob and his sons were very angry because of the men of Shechem, and they had defiled Dinah, their sister. They spoke to them while planning evil acts, and they dealt deceitfully with them and tricked them. Simeon and Levi came unexpectedly to Shechem and executed judgment on all the men of Shechem, and killed all the men whom they found in it. They did not leave a single one remaining in it. They killed all in a hand-to-hand battle, because they had dishonored their sister Dinah. Let it not again be done from now on that a daughter of Israel be defiled. Judgment is ordained in heaven against them, that they should destroy all the men of Shechemites with the sword, because they have committed shame in Israel. And the Lord delivered them into the hands of the sons of Jacob, that they might exterminate them with the sword and execute judgment on them, that it might not again be done in Israel, that a virgin of Israel be defiled. So I want to shine a light on something right quick. Back to the story of after the flood, when the water receded and they got off the boat. Noah, his wife, and Shem, Japheth, and Ham, they all got off the boat. So, like I said, this just like the man was just saying, Dr. Darity was telling you, shining a light to this report on where all the violence in the earth coming from. It's coming from the Caucasian. He's trying to shine a light and put the blame on the African and the African American, and he said, no, it's no competition when it comes to violence, when it comes to the European and the Gentile. and it's violent. There's no other race of men or people that can be compared to the level of violence that they have shown since they've been here, since the man been in existence. So, like I said, they got off the boat, and they got off the boat, and they I showed Shem is his son, but Japhet is the descendants of Cain, which are the Gentiles. And like the brother just said, how violent they are. And most I tell you, they continuously are lustful and sex is all the thing about. You know, they defile people, right? So he says right here, in the first year of the 6th week, chapter 30, he went up to Salem. This is Jacob. Jacob. To the east of Shechem, and in the 5th month, he went in peace. Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Havite, the prince of the land, carried off Dinah, right, daughter of Jacob, into the house. See that? And he had sex with her and defiled her. She was a little girl, a child of 12 years old. So this same situation, same people, Gentiles, Canaanites and Gentiles, right? That the same thing happened with the boat. Noah's necklace is his wife. So out of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, one of them raped his wife. Same thing right here. What happened right here? So you got to do a process of deductions, and you're gonna find out it's Japheth. And then in the process of doing the deductions, you're gonna find out that they ain't none of his son. Okay, just like Cain. Cain killed Abel. They ain't none Cain. That's not Adam's son. Something else going on. Somebody done tricked off the scriptures. So, verse 2, we'll get back where I was at. So we see right here, they raped his daughter, 12 years old, raped her. Now, I showed you in the book of Adam and Eve, they was doing the same thing before the flood. That's what brought the flood. That's what they was doing. Raping, going to a man's house, raping them, because they are people of immense stature and strength. So they would go and just take a man's wife. And that's the whole thing about Abraham telling Sarah to tell everybody that she is sister because of that. It hadn't just started. It had been going on. It had been going on before the flood. And then Isaac ended up in the same situation. He had to tell Rebecca to tell them that she is sister, because that's what they do. Take women, rape them. They'll kill the man, but rape him first. Then kill him, then take the wife and rape her. And that's what happened when Noah got off the boat. That's what Japhet did. So, chapter 30, verse 6. The Lord delivered them into the hands of the sons of Jacob, and that they might exterminate them with the sword and execute judgment on them, that it might not again be done in Israel that a virgin of Israel should be defiled. Right? Verse 7. If there is any man in Israel who wishes to give his daughter or his sister to any man who is of the offspring of the Gentiles, here goes your second witness right here. Offspring of the Gentiles, he shall surely die. They shall stone him, for he has committed shame in Israel. They shall burn the woman with fire, because she has disowned the name of the house of her father, and she shall be rooted out of Israel. So, like I said before, the laws and the statutes, they didn't just show up at Mount Sinai. You had 10 Melchizedeks before the flood. You had 8 Adam all the way to Noah. They had the law. And so guess what? In the garden, you know what happened in the garden. So Eve was defiled. And look what the Most High said. They should burn the woman with fire because she has dishonored the name of the house of her father, and she shall be rooted out of Israel. And that's what Adam went wrong with. Because she was defiled. He knew she was defiled, but he loved her. Right? So 8, and do not let and do not let an adulteress and let no unclean be found in Israel throughout all the days of the generations of the earth. For Israel is holy to the Lord, and every man who has defiled it shall surely die. They shall stone him. For it has been ordained and written in the heavenly tablets regarding all the offspring of Israel. He who defiles it shall surely die. He shall be killed by stoning. There is no limit of days for the law. There is no remission and no atonement. The man who has defiled his daughter shall be rooted out from every corner of all Israel, because he has given of his offspring to Moloch, the pagan god, the worship of which involving burning of a child alive, and committed impurities and defiled his child. His mother, Moses, commanded the children of Israel and exhorted them not to give their daughters to the Gentiles, right? Not to give their daughters to the Gentiles, not to take for their sons any of the daughters of the Gentiles, for this is an abomination before the Lord. So we're not going to even deal with nothing else. Just go to the transatlantic slave trade. Look at this right here and go to the transatlantic slave trade. It says, Moses commanded the children of Israel and exhorted them not to give their daughters to the Gentiles and not to take their sons, the sons of their daughters, and give them to the Gentiles, for this is an abominable thing before the Lord. Okay? And like I said, look at what happened in transatlantic slave trade. And not only that, on the plantation. 12, it is because of this that I have written all the deeds of the Shukemites, which they committed with Adana, and placed them in the words of the law for you. I have also written how the sons of Jacob spoke, saying, we will not give our daughters to a man who is uncircumcised, for that is a reproach to us. It is a reproach to Israel that anyone that takes the daughters of a Gentile, for this is unclean and abominable to Israel. Israel will not be free from this uncleanness if it has a wife or the daughter of a Gentile, or has given any of his daughters to a man who is of any of the Gentiles. There will be plagues upon plagues, curse upon curse, and every judgment and plague and curse will come if he does this thing, or if they ignore those who commit uncleanness, or defile the sanctuary of the Lord, or those who profane his holy name. If any of these happen, the whole nation together will be judged for all the uncleanness and profanity, that's what I'm going to say, of this man. So this goes back to what the conversation what we was talking about the other day. It says, if any of this happen, if one man, any of it, the whole nation together will be judged. Okay, 16, there will be no judging people by their position, and no receiving fruits or offering, nor burnt offerings or fat or the fragrance of sweet odor from his hands. It will be unacceptable. And so warn every man and woman in Israel who defiles the sanctuary. For this reason, I commanded you, saying, give this testimony to Israel. See how the Shechelamites and their sons fared. See how they were delivered into the hands of two of the sons of Jacob, and they killed them under torture. It was counted to them for righteousness, and it is written down to them for righteousness. The offspring of Levi was chosen for the priesthood and to be Levites, that they might minister before the Lord as we do continuously. Levi and his sons will be blessed forever, for he was zealous. Man. So he was zealous to execute righteousness and judgment and vengeance on all those who arose against Israel. So they wrote a testimony in his favor of blessings and righteousness on the heavenly tablets in the presence of the God of all. We remember the righteousness that the man fulfilled during his life throughout the years until 1,000 generations they were recorded. He will come to him and to his descendants after him, and he has been recorded on the heavenly tablets as a friend and a righteous man. In this account I have written for you and have commanded you to tell the children of Israel so that they will not commit sin, nor transgress the laws, nor break the covenant which has been ordained for them. They should fulfill it and be recorded as friends of God. But if they transgress and work uncleanness in any way, they will be recorded on the heavenly tablets as adversaries of God, and they will be blotted out of the book of life. Instead, they will be recorded in the book of those who will be destroyed and those who will be rooted out of the earth. On the day when the sons of Jacob killed Shechem, it was written in the records in their favor in heaven that they had executed righteousness and uprightness and vengeance on the sinners. And it is written for a blessing. And they brought Dana, their sister, out of the house of Shechem, and they took everything that was in the Shechem's and took everything that was in Shechem captive. They took their sheep and their oxen and their donkeys and all their wealth and all their flocks and brought them all to Jacob their father. He reproached them because they had put the city to the sword, for he feared those who dwell in the land, the Canaanites and the Perizzites. The dread of the Lord was on all the cities that are near Shechem. They did not fight or chase after the sons of Jacob, for terror had fallen on them. So that was chapter 30. Any comments? Okay. It's chapter 31.
Hold up.
Okay.
So what we was just reading, right? This is before we had a priesthood, right?
Right.
This is before we had a priesthood, before Judah was chosen for David's lineage to come out of Judah to reign as king, and before the Levites were made the priesthood.
Right.
And it's based upon a lot of things that took place because of the fact that their 12-year-old sister was raped by these people. And we know Simeon and Levi went in to put in work.
Okay.
And Jacob didn't really, according to the King James or according to the Torah, Jacob didn't approve of it, right?
Right. It mentioned it right here.
Yeah, they didn't mention exactly what they made them people do. Like you got to go to Genesis chapter 34, I think, to read up exactly what they made these Canaanites or these Gentiles do. But I just want to bring it back to like verse 8. And this is the beginning of it all. It says, and let not, this is how my book reads it. It says, and let not an adulteress and no uncleanness be found in Israel throughout all the days of the generations of the earth. For Israel is holy unto the Lord, and every man who has defiled it shall surely die. They shall stone him with stones. And this is it right here. So, for thus has it been ordained and written in the heavenly tablets regarding all the seed of Israel, he who defileth it shall surely die, and he shall be stoned with stone. Here you go. And to this law there is no limit of days and no remission. So there's no limit. This is perpetual.
Right.
This is what he's still looking at us today.
Right. No matter if we in captivity.
Right.
Right. So based on that, go down to 17 and 18. It says, "For this reason I have commanded you, saying, give this testimony to Israel. See how the Shupamites and their sons fared. See how they were delivered into the hands of two sons of Jacob, and they killed them under torture. It was counted to them for righteousness, and it is written down to them for righteousness." So what are you talking about? Those Shuplamites, whatever, however you want to pronounce it, defiled the daughter of Jacob, and the Most High had all of them exterminated. So you have to go to look at how we got over here. That's what we did. We disobeyed the Most High, got away from his statutes and his judgments, and then started intermingling with other people, defiling our seed, and that's what's going on to this day. So he tells you right here in 17, for this reason, right? Because they defile Dana. These Shuplamites. For this reason, I have commanded you, saying, give this testimony to Israel. See how the Shuplamites and their sons fled. They ain't fair. He killed all of them. So we're in the same predicament now. We're looking at how we fared. So he says, see how they were delivered into the hands of two of the sons. So we was delivered into the hands of the Gentiles for the same reason. And they killed them under torture. That's what we had, being killed under torture. It was counted to them for righteousness, and it is written down to them for righteousness. So let's look at that, because they want to say, not understanding, the lowly Christian, Catholic, say that, they don't want to deal with the God of the Old Testament. They want to deal with JC. It's not understanding it's two different gods. So when you're looking at it from a Christian perspective, you say you don't want to deal with the God of the Old Testament. You say he was too ruthless or he was too mean. But he tells you right here, Simeon and his brother killed the whole town, slaughtered all the men, and he says it was counted to them for righteousness, and it's written down to them as righteousness. So when we got
kicked out, Levi.
Yeah, Simeon and Levi. So we see right here, because of what we done, we've been kicked out over here. So it's accounted. The Most High asked the question, am I not righteous? So we got kicked out over here, and all the atrocities and everything that we still going through. It's accounted to the Most High as righteous. Righteousness. Righteous judgment. Okay. So 18, and the offspring of Levi were chosen for the priesthood and to be Levites, that they might minister before the Lord as we do continuously. Levi and his sons will be blessed forever, for he was zealous. Here you go. Well, this is why Levi was chosen as the priesthood. It says, for he was zealous and executed righteousness and judgment and vengeance on all those who arose against Israel. So because of what they done right here, they was chosen. So they wrote a testimony in his favor of blessings and righteousness on the heavenly tablet in the presence of the God of all. So notice, so they wrote a testimony in his favor. These angels, these 7 angels, they wrote a testimony in his favor of blessings and righteousness on the heavenly tablets. That's the book of that I was telling you about in Daniel chapter 10, verse 21. The scriptures are true, right? It says, we remember these angels, we remember the righteousness that the man fulfilled during his life, his Levi, throughout the years, until 1,000 generations that were recorded. It will come to him, Levi, and to his descendants after him, and he will be recorded on the heavenly tablets as a friend and a righteous man. And all this account I have written for you, and I have commanded you to tell the children of Israel so that they will not commit sin or transgress the law, nor break the covenant which has been ordained for them. They shall fulfill it and be recorded as friends of God. So this is why Levi was chosen. What they did is Shechem. So I'm in chapter 31. Anybody else got a comment? Okay. Chapter 31 says, on the new moon of the month, Jacob spoke to all the people of his house, saying, purify yourselves, change your clothes, and let us go up and go to Bethel, where I vowed a vow to him on the day when I fled from Esau, my brother. Let us do this because God has been with me and brought me into this land, and you must put away the strange gods that you raised among you. So go back to what I was telling you about. It says that Judah was born on the first day of the first of the month, of the first month, and then Levi, and then when Jacob was on his way to Mesopotamia, said it's the first day of the month on a new moon. So, like I was saying, not only did they know their God, they know where to meet him at and when to meet him. So we see right here, 31:1 on the new moon. See that? On the new moon of the month, right? Jacob spoke to all the people of his house, saying, purify yourselves and change your clothes, and let us go up to go to Bethel. That's where the ladder is, where the angels going up and down, where I vowed a vow to him, to the Lord of hosts, on the day when I fled from Esau, or my brother. Let us do this because God has been with me and brought me into this land in peace. You must put away strange gods that you have raised among you. So they know where he at. They know where he at, know when to go see him, when to deal with him. They knew all that. So say they gave up the strange gods and that which was in their ears and which was on their necks, and the idols which Rachel stole from Laban, her father. She gave wholly to Jacob, and he burnt and broke them in pieces, and destroyed them, and hid them under an oak, which is in the land of Shechem. And he went up on the new moon of the seventh month. See that? He got a new moon again. And he went up on the new moon of the seventh month to Bethel. See? This ain't no accident. And he built an altar at the place where he had slept. And he set up the pillar there, and he sent words to his father, Isaac, and to his mother, Rebekah, and he asked to come to Isaac. There, Jacob wished to offer his sacrifice. Isaac said, let my son Jacob come, and let me see him before I die. Jacob went to his father Isaac and his mother Rebekah to the house of his father Abraham, and he took two of his sons with him, Levi and Judah. And Rebekah came out from the tower to the front of it to kiss Jacob and embrace him, for her spirit had revived when she heard, look, Jacob, your son has come. And she kissed him. She saw his two sons, and she recognized them. She said to him, are these your sons, my son? And he embraced them and kissed them and blessed them, saying, in you shall the offspring of Abraham become illustrious, and you shall prove a blessing on the earth. Jacob went in to Isaac his father to the room where he lay, and his two sons were with him. He took his father's hand, stooped down, he kissed him. Isaac held on to the neck of Jacob his son and wept on his neck. The darkness left the eyes of Isaac, and he saw his two sons, sons of Jacob, Levi and Judah, and he said, are these your sons, my son? Because they look like you. And he said to Isaac, they were truly my sons, and you have clearly seen that they are truly my sons. They came near to him, and he turned and kissed them and embraced them together. So notice right here, like I was telling you, there's something going on with Isaac. Earlier, when we was reading in Jubilees, Abraham went to Jacob's tent and gave the goats up. He didn't go to his son's tent and get a gold cup. He went to Jacob's tent, his grandson, and gave a gold cup. And we see right here, it tells you Abraham's status before he passed away. It said he was strong. You can see he was strong, and none of his forces had obeyed it. And we still saw the same thing with Moses. Moses was strong, none of his forces had obeyed it. Same thing with Jacob. But we see right here, Isaac got issues. First of all, he's blind. So look at what happened in chapter 31 and 8. Jacob went in to Isaac, his father, to the room where he lay, and his two sons were with him. He took his father's hand, stooped down, and kissed him. Isaac held on to the neck of Jacob, his son, and wept on his neck. The darkness, blindness, he blind. The darkness, so the Lord of hosts opened his eyes up. The darkness left the eyes of Isaac, and he saw his two sons of Jacob, Levi and Judah, and he said, "Are these your sons, my son?" Because they look like you. And he said to Isaac, "They were truly my sons, and you have clearly seen that they are truly my sons." They came near to him, and he turned and kissed them and embraced them together. So at that moment right there, the Lord hosts opened his eyes up so he can see Jacob's two sons. Then the spirit of prophecy came down into his mouth, and he took Levi with his right hand and Judah in his left. And he turned to Levi first and began to bless him first and said to him, "My son, may the God of all, the very Lord of all ages, bless you and your children throughout all the ages. May the Lord give you to you and your offspring greatness and great glory from among all flesh. May the Lord cause you and your offspring to draw near to him to serve in his sanctuary like the angels of the presence of the Lord as the holy ones. The offspring of his son shall be for glory and greatness and holiness of God. May he make them great throughout all the ages. They shall be judges and princes and chiefs of all the offspring of the sons of Jacob. They shall speak the word of the Lord in righteousness, and they shall judge all his judgments in righteousness. They shall declare my ways to Jacob and my paths to Israel. The blessings of the Lord shall be given in their mouths to bless all the offspring of the beloved. Your mother has called your name Levi, and rightly has she called your name. You will be joined to the Lord and be the companion of all the sons of Jacob. Let his table be your table, and let your sons eat from it. May your table be full throughout all generations, and let your food not fail in all the ages. And let all who hate you fall down before you, and let all your adversaries be rooted out and perish. Blessed be he that bless you, and curse every nation that curses you. To Judah he said, may the Lord give you strength and power to put all that hate you under your feet. You and one of your sons will be a prince over the sons of Jacob. And may your name and the name of your sons go out across every land and region. Then shall the Gentiles fear you, and all the nations and all the people shall shake with fear of you. In you be the help of Jacob, and in you will be found the salvation of Israel. When you sit on the throne, which honors of yours righteousness, there shall be great peace for all the offspring of the sons of the beloved. Blessed be he that blesses you, and cursed be all that hate you, afflict you, or curse you. They shall be rooted out and destroyed from the earth. He turned and kissed him again, and embraced him, and rejoiced greatly because he had seen the sons of his son Jacob clearly and truly. He stepped out from between his feet and fell down. He bowed down to him and blessed him. He rested there with Isaac, his father, that night, and they ate and drank with joy. He made the two sons of Jacob sleep, and one on his right hand and the other on his left. He was counted to him for righteousness. Jacob told his father everything during the night about how the Lord had shown him great mercy and how he had caused him to prosper in all his ways and how he had protected him from all evil. Okay? Isaac blessed the God of his father who had not withdrawn his mercy and his righteousness from the sons of his servant Isaac. In the morning, Jacob told his father Isaac the vow which he had vowed to the Lord. He told him the vision which he had seen and that he had built an altar. He told him that everything was ready for the sacrifice to be made before the Lord as he had vowed and had come to set him on a donkey. On a donkey again. Isaac said to Jacob his son, I am not able to go with you, for I am old and not able to endure the way. Go in peace, my son. I am 165 years this day. I am no longer able to journey. Set your mother on a donkey and let her go with you. I know that you have come on my account, my son. May this day be blessed on which you have seen me alive, and I have seen you, my son. May you prosper and fulfill the vow that you have vowed. Do not put off your vow, for you will be called to account for the vow. Now hurry to perform it, and may he who has made all things be pleased. It is to him you have vowed the vow. He said to Rebekah, go with Jacob your son. And Rebekah went with Jacob her son, and Deborah with her, and they came to Bethel. And Jacob remembered the prayer which his father had blessed him and his two sons, Levi and Judah. He rejoiced and blessed the God of his fathers, Abraham and Isaac. He said, now I know that my sons and I have an eternal hope in the God of all. Thus is it ordained concerning the two. They recorded it as an eternal testimony to them on the heavenly tablets, how Isaac blessed his son. So that was 31. Any comments on that? Okay. I'll read.
Hold up.
Somebody got
Yeah. I'm gonna break something down. So it was Rebecca who had blessed Jacob, right?
Yeah, both of them blessed.
Yeah. But the spirit came on her, right? To do what she had to do. I don't know if you read that, but I didn't catch it in that book. But I'm gonna go back to 31 in this book that I got, and I'm gonna start at damn my eyes are bad. I think it's 9, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna go back to 9, and it's where it says, "And the darkness left the eyes of Isaac."
Right.
It was like, and he saw the two sons of Jacob, Levi and Judah, and he said, "Are these thy sons, my son? For they are like thee." And he said unto him that they were truly his sons, and thou hast truly seen that they are truly my sons. And 10 it says, and they came near unto him, and he turned and kissed them and embraced them both together. So did your book read this? It says, and the spirit of prophecy came down into his mouth.
Right.
So that's when you're saying that's when God comes in them, right?
Right. He's speaking. The Lord of hosts actually speaking. He didn't came
Lord
in.
of hosts actually speaking.
Huh?
No. Go ahead. That's what I'm saying. I didn't catch it when you read that. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, right. So we saw back in like 23 or so before Jacob left and went to Mesopotamia. Rebecca did the same thing.
Right.
Okay.
That's what that's what I mean. So that's what I was looking for. So that's what I mean. This book, your book said the same thing.
Right. So the spirit of prophecy came down into his mouth. and he took Levi in his right
Okay,
hand,
cool.
Judah in his left hand. Right?
All right, cool, because I missed that.
And
So now this is him. This is him with the spirit of prophecy blessing his grandbaby.
Right.
That's ill. So the spirit of prophecy came on Rebecca to bless Jacob.
Right.
And it didn't come into Isaac at that time, right?
No, it went, both of them. Both of them blessed.
Spirit of prophecy came in Isaac as well to bless Jacob.
It came on him when she told him when she dressed him up like Isaac and he went in there. The same thing happened.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
But did it go to Isaac though? It went to Rebecca.
Yeah, when Isaac blessed him, when he came in and gave him the venison, he said, "My soul." That's what's happening right here. His soul blessed him. So the same thing happened.
Oh, okay.
See what I'm saying? That's what they waiting on. That's why he said Esau turned around and said, and wept. He said, "Because
you ain't got a blessing for me.
Ain't no other blessing like that. Ain't no other blessing coming like that."
Right.
Yeah.
So Isaac right here is just blessing the two lads.
Right.
Levi and Jacob.
Levi
right.
Judah.
I mean, excuse me. Yeah, Levi and Judah. And through the spirit of prophecy.
Right.
Got you.
So what that remind you of though?
What do you mean?
What that remind you of when you read that?
Through the spirit of prophecy?
Yeah. Didn't Jacob do that to Joseph? Ephraim and Manasseh?
With the children, put one hand on right.
He did the same thing.
As if he didn't know which child he's putting one hand on.
Right. He told him, "I know what I'm doing."
Right. That's what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? So Isaac was doing the very same thing.
Exactly. Right. Nothing new under the sun.
Right.
Exactly. It's almost the same story but you know what I'm saying? A lot of people they look over this. Right. You got anything else?
No, on that right now, no.
Right.
Because I mean, the only thing I can say is for everybody who would never understand, like this ain't written in the canon.
Right, exactly.
For you to ever understand why Judah and Levi was chosen. Right. So if you go now read in the book of Ezra and Haggai and understand why he had to have those two, then this is where it begins. This is the inception of everything.
Right.
What we're reading right now. Why it's Judah and Levi, or the way it's written is actually Levi and Judah.
Right. And it's also this is suffering servant. This is suffering servant right here. This is why the suffering servant being identified right here. Like I was saying, go to Isaiah. Everybody dealing with Isaiah 53, trying to figure out who the suffering servant is, but you got to go to 52, 13, 14, and 15. You go to Isaiah 52. So you go to Isaiah 52, and he's right there in your face. So Isaiah 52 says in verse 13, 14, and 15, and then in the King James, it tell you the suffering of the Lord's servant. So that's the suffering servant. Behold, my servant shall deal prudently. He shall be exalted and extolled and be very high. As many were astonished at thee, his vestige, right, was marred more than any man, and his form more than the sons of men. So it's a group of men. Then 15 tell you, so shall he sprinkle many nations. The kings shall shut their mouths at him for that which had not been told them, for they shall see, for they shall see, and that which they had not heard shall they consider. So who do the sprinkling? Ain't but one man on the planet do sprinkling.
Levi.
There it is. There it is right there. And then coupled with what we just read in Jubilees,
right?
That's a suffering servant right there.
So it's been incomplete.
What's that?
It's been incomplete. You're not gonna really understand this unless you read those other books.
Right, exactly, right. It ain't gonna come to light.
So I could tell you whatever I could make your heart desire to believe.
Right.
And you don't know the truth of what this really is all about.
Exactly.
Because the canon, according to what they did, they stripped it down. They gave some information, but they ain't give none of this type of so they'll give information as to how Simeon and Levi told those in 34, Genesis 34, told those boys, "Oh, you want to marry my daughter, be circumcised." You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So they'll give you that information, but they won't give you the information as to what actually took place with Judah and Levi.
Right, and how they got to where they was at, to the position they rose to. Yeah, I want to shine another light on something too. I read over. I didn't go back to it. So he says, oh yeah, starting at verse 18. This 31 and 18. It says to Judah. So he just laid his hands on Levi. Now he got his hand, this Isaac with his hands on Judah. May the Lord give you strength and power to put all that hate you under your feet. You, now look at this. You and one of your sons will be a prince over the sons of Jacob. So what's that telling you?
David gonna arise.
David, there it is. That's David.
David gonna arise.
And he said, Judah, you and one of your sons will be prince over the sons of Jacob. That's David. And there's some.
Yeah, man.
Okay, yeah.
Beautiful.
And there's some. So you read, slap over there, the average person. So I'm gonna read chapter 32, then I'll close it out. It says, that night he stayed at Bethel, and Levi dreamed. Here you go right here. This is another confirmation of the suffering servant. That night he stayed at Bethel, and Levi dreamed that they had ordained and made his sons and him the priest of the Most High forever. Then he awoke from his sleep and blessed the Lord. Jacob rose early in the morning on the 14th of this month, and he gave a tithe for all that came with him, both of men and cattle, both of goods and every vessel and garments. Yes, he gave tithes to all. In those days, Rachel became pregnant with her son Benjamin, and Jacob counted his son. Jacob counted his son, starting from him and going to the oldest. And Levi fell to the portion of the Lord. Levi was the third son. 3 is the number of spiritual completeness. His father clothed him in the garments of the priesthood and filled his hands. So let's look at that. Like I was saying before, go back to what I said. Isaiah 52 again. And there it is. Isaiah 52. So it says Isaiah 52. Okay. It says, behold, my servant shall deal prudently. He shall be exalted and extolled and be very high. As many were astonished at his vestige. So that's garments. And we see the garments right here. This is what he dreamed. So he says, that night he stayed at Bethel, and Levi dreamed that they were ordained and made his sons and him the priest of the Most High God forever. Then he awoke from his sleep and blessed the Lord. And Jacob rose early in the morning on the 14th of this month, and he gave a tithe for all that came with him, both of men and cattle, both of gold and every vessel and garment. Yes, he gave tithes to all. In those days, Rachel became pregnant with her son Benjamin. Jacob counted his sons, starting from him and going to the oldest. To Levi fell a portion of the Lord. Levi was the third son. 3 in the number is the number of spiritual completeness. His father clothed him. There you go, right here. His father clothed him in garments of the priesthood and filled his hand. There goes the suffering servant right there. Isaiah 52, right? 4. On the 15th of this month, he brought 14 oxen from among the cattle, 28 grams or 49 sheep, 7 lambs, 21 kids of goats to the altar as a burnt offering on the altar of sacrifice. The offering was well pleasing and sweet odor before the Lord. This was his offering, done in acknowledgement of the vow in which he had promised that he would give a tenth, and with their fruit offerings and their drink offerings. And when the fire had consumed it, he burnt incense over the fire, and for a thanks offering he sacrificed 2 oxen and 4 rams, 4 sheep, 4 male goats, 2 sheep of a year old, 2 kids of goats. This he did daily for 7 days. He, his men, and all his sons were eating this with joy and during 7 days and blessing and thanking the Lord who had delivered him out of all this tribulation and had given him his promise. He tidied all the clean animals and made a burnt out sacrifice, but he did not give the unclean animals to Levi his son. He gave him responsibly for all the souls of the men. Levi acted in priestly office at Bethel in the presence of Jacob his father, in preference to his 10 brothers. He was a priest there, and Jacob gave his vow, and he gave it tight to the Lord again, and sanctified it, and it became holy to him. For this reason, it is ordained on the heavenly tablets as a law, where the offering of the tithe should be eaten in the presence of the Lord every year, in the place where it is chosen, that his name should live and reside. This law has no limit of days forever. This law is written so that it may be fulfilled every year. The second tithe should be eaten in the presence of the Lord, in the place where it has been chosen, and nothing shall be left over for it or from it from this year to the following year. In its year shall the seed be eaten until the days of the gathering of the seeds of the year. The wine shall be consumed until the days of the wine, and all until the days of season. All that is left of it and all that becomes old will be regarded as spoiled. Let it be burnt with fire, for it is unclean. Let them eat it together in the sanctuary, and let them not permit to become old. All the tithes of the oxen and sheep shall be holy to the Lord, and shall belong to his priests. They shall eat before him from year to year, for thus is it ordained and written on the heavenly tablets regarding this type. On the following night, on the 22nd day of this month, Jacob resolved to build that place and to surround the court with a wall, and to sanctify it and make it holy forever for himself and his children after him. The Lord appeared to him by night and blessed him and said to him, "Your name shall be called Jacob, but they will call your name Israel." And he said to him again, "I am the Lord who created the heavens and the earth, and I will increase you and multiply you greatly, and kings shall come forth from you, right? And they shall be judges everywhere the foot of the sons of men have walked. And I will give to your offspring all the earth that is under heaven. They shall judge all nations as they desire. After that, they shall possess the entire earth and inherit it forever." And he finished speaking with him, and he went up from him. And Jacob watched until he had ascended into heaven. In a vision at night, he saw an angel descend from heaven with 7 tablets in his hand. And he gave them to Jacob, and he read them and knew all that was written on it that would happen to him and his sons throughout all ages. And he showed him all that was written on the tablets, and said to him, "Do not build on this place, and do not make it an eternal sanctuary, and do not live here. This is not the place. Go to the house of Abraham, your father, and live with Isaac, your father, until the day he dies. For in Egypt you will die in peace, and in this land you will be buried with honor in a sepulchre of your fathers with Abraham and Isaac. Do not fear, as you have seen and read, it shall be written down everything that you have seen and read." Jacob said, "Lord, how can I remember all that I have read and seen?" And he said to him, I will bring all things to your remembrance. And he ascended from Jacob. And Jacob awoke from his sleep, and he remembered everything that he had read and seen, and he wrote down all the words. He celebrated there yet another day, and he sacrificed on that day as he had sacrificed on all the former days, and he called his name addition, because this day was added, and the former days he called feast. It was made known and revealed to him, and it is written on the heavenly tablets that he should celebrate the day and add it to the 7 days of the feast. His name was called addition, because that it was recorded among the days of the feast days according to the number of the days of the year. In the night, on the 23rd of this month, Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and they buried her beneath the city under the oak of the river. And he called the name of the place the river of Deborah, and he called it the oak of the mourning of Deborah. Rebekah departed and returned to her house to his father Isaac. Jacob sent rams and sheep and male goats by her, so that she should prepare a meal for his father, such as he desired. He followed his mother until he came to the land of Cabbaton, and he lived there. Rachel gave birth to their son in the night, and called his name Son of My Sorrow, and for she broke down while giving birth to him, but she and his father called his name Benjamin. Right? This happened on the 11th day of the 8th month, in the first of the 6 weeks of this Jubilees. Rachel died there, and she was buried in the land of Ephraim, the same as Bethlehem. And Jacob built a pillar on the grave of Rachel on the road above her grave. So that was 32, right? Any comments on that? Okay. Anybody got any comments on chapter 32? Okay. So we see right here that Deborah's Rachel's Rebecca's maid, Deborah died, and then right after that, Benjamin was born, and then Rebecca died. And then notice how he told him Bethel, Jacob was looking to build on Bethel, but he said you can't build no house made with man's hands on where the portal was at. So later on, Solomon built that where Abraham dwelled at, the Tower of Abraham is where he built the temple at. He couldn't build it at Bethel. There's some, and also we see that the angel of the Lord brought tablets down to Jacob. Did anybody catch that?
Right.
Yeah, he brought tablets in there, so
Right.
where is that at? You know what I mean? What them books said?
That's I was thinking about that. I've been thinking about this because I've been saying that they've been had the law, they've been had all of these, and that's all you've been reading. And I've been stressing that all it was is when he took these people out of Egypt, he was just updating them on what has already been going on with his program. So it wasn't nothing new. So if you know what I'm saying, so I always read that back when Joseph was in Egypt, and he knew that it was a sin to lay with another man's wife. So it was like, yo, how would he know? Of course, they already had the law.
Right, exactly. It
was already there.
Right. The King of Righteousness already had all that. From Adam all the way to Noah. They already had all that. Yeah, I saw something else, man, that was big too. Let me get it right quick. Yeah, I'm just gonna start at 20. So this when the Lord of Hosts came down and check it out too. Man, you gotta look at this and go to the New Testament. It says, verse 19, he finished speaking. The Lord of hosts came down, ascended, and finished speaking with him. Finished speaking with Jacob, and he went up from him. Right. Jacob watched until he had ascended into heaven. So go to the New Testament. JC, they sit there and watch him ascend into heaven, right? Okay, 21.
Right.
So in a vision at night, he saw an angel descend from heaven with 7 tablets in his hand, and he gave them to Jacob, and he read them and knew all that was written on it, that it would happen to him and his sons throughout all the ages. Now check this out. This part I was talking about. And he showed him all that was written in the tablets and said to him, do not build on this place and do not make an eternal sanctuary and do not live here. This is not the place. Go to the house of Abraham, see that? Your father, and live with Isaac, your father, until the day he dies. Now here you go. Here go the 400 years in Isaiah 53. I mean, in Genesis 15. Here you go right here. For in Egypt you will die in peace. And in this land you will be buried with a house in the sepulchre and your father with Abraham and Isaac. So they go to captivity in Egypt right there. See that?
Right.
There it is
And,
right
and
there.
so that's also him knowing his bones got to be carried up out of there.
Exactly. So he ain't talking about no America in
Right.
Genesis 15.
Right.
See that?
And that's you brought also you brought something up when you was reading that nothing was supposed to be built on Bethlehem Ephratah.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, that's that you hear that a lot. Like I've heard that a couple times. A couple pastors always bringing up there's some New Testament jargon about Bethlehem Ephratah.
Right. Exactly.
You know that they speaking on something. So it's like, you know, the ascension of wherever Christ may ascended from.
Right.
But we know that you weren't supposed to put nothing there.
No, exactly. Exactly. He gave him specific instruction not to. So we know that Jacob turned around and gave all that information to their sons because they didn't do it. And then we also see they already knew David was coming. We saw that in Numbers.
Right.
When Balaam told him, he said, I shall see him, but not now. A star shall come. Huh?
No, I'm just my bad. I'm talking.
Right. And we see also right here, the angel of the Lord made mention of Jacob. That the son out of Judah gonna come. That's David right there. Ain't that something?
Yeah, so they knew that. So that correlates with the fact that they always knew, yo, bring my bones.
Right, exactly. Right.
You know?
Right.
Bring my bones, bring my dust, bring my whatever. Bring my remains.
Right. For what? Them the same bones in Ezekiel 37.
Right.
Ain't that something? Yeah. Right. That's something. Anybody got anything else before we go? We right at 2 hours. Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm good, man. Very informational, man. Very informational class today.
Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna see everybody in the morning at 10 o'clock for our morning Shabbat class. I want to say shalom to everybody. And I'll see y'all in the morning at 10. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
Okay.